Let me be brutally honest with you. When she rejected you, she didn't think twice about it. She moved on, forgot about it by the next day, and assumed you would too, either by chasing her or by disappearing completely. What she didn't plan for was you actually becoming happy. Not fake happy. Not post my gym pics to make her jealous happy. Genuinely, authentically happy. And that triggers something in her psychology she'll never admit out loud. Because here's what women don't tell you. Rejection isn't the end of the story. It's her making an assumption about how you'll react. She's betting you'll either validate her decision by chasing or confirm it by disappearing bitter. What happens when you do neither? When she sees you thriving without her validation, there's a psychological mechanism that kicks in, and most men have no idea it exists. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly what happens in her mind when she sees you happy. The 7 signs she's secretly monitoring you, how to handle it if she reaches out, and the framework that makes you win regardless. Let's get into it. Before we get into that mechanism, let me clarify what this video is not about. This isn't some manipulative make her jealous strategy where you fake happiness for attention. That's transparent. It reeks of desperation, and women see through it instantly. This also isn't about revenge or proving her wrong. That bitter energy will poison your recovery and keep you stuck. What this is about is understanding female psychology so you can move forward with clarity, whether she notices or not. I'm going to show you the psychological patterns women rarely admit, the exact behaviors that signal regret, and how to handle it all while maintaining your dignity. This is about your recovery and power, not her validation. Now let me show you what's actually happening beneath the surface. Here's what happens to most men after rejection. They get stuck in an analysis loop, replaying every text, every conversation, every moment, trying to pinpoint the exact second it went wrong. Was it something you said? Did you come on too strong? Not strong enough. This mental trap keeps you frozen, fixated on her judgment of you, unable to move forward. But here's what you don't realize. Her rejection often has nothing to do with your actual value. Women reject men for dozens of reasons that have zero connection to attraction. Timing isn't right. She's not emotionally available. She's still hung up on someone else. She's scared of getting hurt. The rejection itself is just her exercising control in that moment. She's making a decision based on her current state, not your worth. And here's where most men fall into the trap. They either start chasing harder to prove themselves, or they disappear completely, either bitter or trying to show they don't care. Both reactions hand her exactly what she expected. The guy who chases confirms her decision was right. You needed her validation more than she needed yours. The guy who disappears bitter, he confirms it too. She had the power to wound you. Either way, she stays in control of the narrative. What changes everything is when you do neither. When she rejected you, she made an assumption about how you'd react. And that brings us to the framework. Here's what I'm going to break down. Why women monitor men they rejected. The 7 specific signs she's watching you. What to do if she reaches out. And the strategy that makes you win regardless. Let's start with the psychology. So here's what's happening in her mind when she sees you happy after rejecting you. When she said no, she was operating from what I call the validation economy. In her mind, she had options. She had control. And she made a choice. That choice gave her something. The power to grant or deny validation. Your interest was her currency. And she spent it by saying no. She assumed that rejection would play out one of 2 ways. You'd either keep trying to earn her back, proving she was valuable enough to chase, or you disappear bitter, proving she had the power to wound you. Both outcomes feed her position. But here's what shifts when she sees you genuinely thriving. You've broken the validation economy. You're not chasing. You're not bitter. You're just happy without her. And this creates what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort when reality doesn't match her expectations. She expected validation from your reaction. She didn't get it. Now her brain needs to resolve this gap. This triggers something called social proof anxiety. She starts wondering, if you're doing fine without her validation, maybe her judgment was wrong. If you're attractive enough that you're moving forward confidently, maybe she gave up something valuable. Women don't exist in a vacuum. They assess mate value through social feedback. When she rejected you, she bet you'd validate her choice by proving you needed her. When you don't, it plants a question mark. Did I make a mistake? Here's the timeline. This typically doesn't kick in immediately. Right after rejection, she's confident in her choice. Week 1, maybe 2, she's not thinking about you. But around week 3 to 8, especially if she sees evidence of your happiness through social media, mutual friends, or coincidental run-ins, that's when the cognitive dissonance peaks. She starts benchmarking. How's her life? How's your life? Are you happier than she expected? Is she as happy as she thought she'd be? And here's the counterintuitive truth that most men don't realize. Your indifference creates more curiosity than your attention ever did. When you were interested, you were predictable. She knew your position. When you're indifferent and thriving, you're a mystery. And the human brain hates unresolved mysteries. She'll start checking your profiles, asking mutual friends about you, engineering situations to accidentally run into you. Not necessarily because she wants you back, though that's possible, but because she needs to close the curiosity loop. She needs to understand why you're okay without her validation. And that's where her power ends and yours begins. So how do you actually know if she's watching? Let me show you the 7 specific signs that prove she's monitoring your life after rejecting you. Sign number 1. Her social media behavior shifts. She's consistently viewing your stories. You'll notice her name appearing within the first few viewers every time you post. She's liking old posts from months ago, which means she's scrolling your entire profile. Late-night profile checks when she thinks you won't notice. This isn't casual interest. It's reconnaissance. Sign 2. Mutual friends suddenly become information brokers. They start casually dropping your name. How's he doing? Is he seeing anyone? He seems happy lately. If you're hearing these questions secondhand, she's fishing for updates. She's using your social circle to monitor you without exposing her own interest. Sign 3. Convenient coincidences multiply. She shows up at the coffee shop you frequent. She's at the same party, the same gym, the same events, places she rarely went before. These aren't accidents. She's engineering opportunities to accidentally cross paths because she wants to see you in person. Gauge your energy. Check if you're really as happy as you appear online. Sign 4. Her posting pattern becomes reactive. Notice this. When you post something showing you're having fun, she posts within hours. When you share wins or updates about your life, suddenly she's active too. She's competing for attention in your peripheral vision, trying to stay relevant in your feed, reminding you she exists. Sign 5. Breadcrumb texts start appearing. Random, hey, out of the blue, this reminded me of you, or vague, hope you're doing well, messages with no real substance. These are her testing the waters, seeing if you're still emotionally available, checking if you'll bite. They're low investment probes to gauge your reaction. Sign 6. She's openly asking about your dating life. Either directly if you're still in occasional contact, or through friends. Is he single? Is he seeing someone seriously? This means she's not just curious, She's calculating whether she still has an opening, whether you've moved on, whether she needs to act before someone else locks you down. Sign 7. Her friends are tracking your social media. You'll notice people from her circle, friends you barely know, suddenly following you, watching your stories, engaging with your content. That's not coincidence. She's delegated surveillance. She wants updates without leaving her own digital fingerprints everywhere. All these signs, they prove her assumption about you was wrong. She bet you'd chase or disappear. You did neither. And now you're the one she's monitoring. Notice how this explains everything you've been seeing. Now you know the signs. But here's where most men make the critical mistake that kills everything. They see these signs and start performing happiness instead of creating it. Let me be clear about something that's going to challenge you. If you're still thinking about her 24/7, if you're checking to see if she viewed your story, if you're posting things hoping she'll see them, you're not actually happy. You're performing, and she can smell that desperation from a mile away. Here's the brutal truth. Genuine happiness is more attractive than any strategy you could manufacture. The moment you're trying to make her jealous or show her what she's missing, you've already lost because you're still operating from her frame. You're still seeking her validation, just through different tactics. The try-hard energy seeps through everything. The gym selfies that are a little too polished, the social posts that feel staged, the obvious attempts to look unbothered. Women have been navigating social dynamics their entire lives. They detect inauthenticity instantly. What actually works is becoming genuinely indifferent to her opinion. Not fake indifference where you're secretly checking if she noticed. Real indifference where you're building a life that's fulfilling whether she's watching or not. Hit the gym because you want to feel strong, not because you want her to see abs. Hang out with friends because you enjoy their company, not because you want witnesses to post about. Build your career, pursue your hobbies, date other women, all because those things genuinely add value to your life. That authentic energy is magnetic in a way that performance never will be. Here's the paradox that most men never grasp. The less you need her to notice your happiness, the more she wants to be part of it. When your happiness depends on her seeing it, you're still giving her power. When your happiness exists completely independent of her awareness, you've taken all the power back. She feels this shift. She can't explain it, but something changes. You're no longer the guy who needed her validation. You're the guy who's thriving without it. And that scares her. You're halfway through the framework most men never discover, and you're about to learn the most practical part. Because when your authentic happiness reaches the point where she can't ignore it anymore, she will reach out. It's predictable. It's almost inevitable. And how you handle that moment determines whether you maintain your power or hand it right back to her. Here's exactly what to do when she texts you. The first text she sends reveals her true intentions. There are 3 types, and distinguishing them instantly determines whether you maintain power or surrender it. Type 1. Ego validation. Late night, vague. Hey, wide, 0 substance. No reference to shared experiences. No real question. No vulnerability. She's checking if you're still available with minimal investment. She's bored, testing if she can still get your attention without earning it. This isn't interest. This is validation collection. How you handle it. Warm but closed. Hey, hope you're doing well. That's it. Friendly enough that you're not bitter. Brief enough that you're not available. Wait 8 to 12 hours minimum. Immediate responses signal you were waiting for her. Delayed responses signal a full life. And critical, do not ask questions. How have you been? Or what's up with you? Extends the conversation and signals availability. Give her warmth, then silence. If she wants more, she needs to invest more effort. Type 2. Genuine interest. References something specific, a shared memory, something in your life, a real question. I saw you're into photography now. That's cool. Or I've been thinking about that conversation we had about X. There's substance. She's showing she's been paying attention, acknowledging your world, creating an opening for real conversation. The energy is vulnerable, not entitled. How you handle it. Engage briefly, then invite in-person interaction. Yeah, photography's been great. Coffee this week. You're not playing games, but you're also not diving into lengthy text exchanges where chemistry gets performed instead of felt. If her interest is genuine, she'll meet in person where you can actually gauge energy and intentions. Text is performance. In person is truth. Set the frame. You're open to reconnecting, but it happens on your terms with real effort, not through convenient texting when she's bored. The specific invite matters. Coffee this week is concrete, low pressure, and requires her to commit or deflect. Type 3. Testing. I miss you, or I made a mistake. Just enough to see if you'll come running back, offering your heart on a platter. It sounds vulnerable, but watch closely. Is she actually taking responsibility? Is she acknowledging what went wrong specifically? Or is she just expressing feelings without commitment, testing if you're still emotionally available before she decides if she wants back in? How you handle it. Mirror her investment exactly. I appreciate that. I've been focused on my own growth, but I'm glad we can be honest. Notice what you're doing, acknowledging her vulnerability without rewarding it with yours. You're saying you've moved forward, you're open to honesty, but you're not jumping back into her frame. If she's serious about reconsidering, she needs to invest more than just words. She needs to show through consistent effort that this isn't just emotional nostalgia or ego protection. Your decision framework. Before responding to any recontact, ask yourself one critical question. Do I actually want her back, or do I just want the validation of her wanting me back? Be brutally honest. If it's validation you're after, you haven't actually moved on. You're still operating in her economy. If you genuinely want to explore reconnection, she needs to meet 3 criteria. She acknowledges her role in how things ended. She respects your boundaries without testing them. And she demonstrates consistent interest over time. Not just one late-night text. The filter that protects you. With the current version of you, the one who's been building genuine happiness, accept how she treated the old version of you. If the answer is no, then her reaching out is just confirmation you made the right choice by moving forward. Her assumption about you collapsed completely. That's why she's reaching out. But by then, you might not want her anymore. And that realization, that's your real freedom. Which brings us to the truth nobody wants to hear. Here's what I need to tell you, and it might sting a bit, but it's the truth that sets you free. The real win isn't getting her back. It's becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to get her back. Most men who genuinely recover from rejection, who do the actual work of building authentic happiness, end up with partners who are more aligned, more attracted, and more invested than the woman who rejected them ever was. That's what she'll actually regret if she's capable of that awareness. Not that she rejected you, but that her rejection created the version of you that's now completely out of her league. This isn't about revenge. It's about honest self-improvement attracting better matches. When you focus on genuine happiness instead of performative recovery, you develop standards, real standards. And those standards often mean that she, the woman who rejected you, doesn't meet the bar anymore. She becomes a footnote in the story of you becoming your best self. Ask yourself this. If she came back tomorrow, genuinely interested and apologetic, would you actually take her back? Or have you outgrown who you were when you wanted her? What if her rejection wasn't the painful ending you thought it was, but the necessary push you needed to become the man you were always capable of being? That shift, from needing her validation to genuinely not caring either way, that's not just power. That's freedom. And once you taste that freedom, her opinion stops mattering entirely. Now I want to hear from you. Has a woman who rejected you ever come back around when she saw you thriving? What did you do? Did you take her back? Keep your distance? Or something else entirely? Drop your story in the comments because I read every single one, and your experiences teach this community as much as I do. And if you're right now in that post-rejection phase, replaying conversations and wondering what went wrong, leave a comment about where you're at. This community isn't just about theory. It's real men sharing real experiences, learning from each other's wins and mistakes. Your story might be exactly what another guy needs to hear today. This channel isn't about pickup tricks or revenge fantasies. It's about building genuine masculine confidence that attracts better relationships. Every man watching this is choosing growth over bitterness, self-improvement over self-pity. That's real strength. That's the community we're building here. So here's what I want you to remember. Her rejection doesn't define your value. It never did. Your response to that rejection, how you choose to show up for yourself afterward, that defines your character. Go build the life that makes you forget you ever needed her validation. Focus on becoming the man you're proud to be. And if she notices and regrets it, that's just a pleasant side effect of you becoming undeniable. The power was always yours. You just had to stop giving it away.